Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Andrew Kraus. I co-founded InventRight with that dude, handsome dude over there on the left, and I'm over there on the left too. And we have been coaching and mentoring inventors for the last 20, going on 21 years now. We've had students in over 65 countries. Last month alone, I think we had 11 students license products. And we've been doing this webinar series during the pandemic to try to help and provide education to independent inventors. We also have an incredible YouTube show, which is also free. And so on this series, we're inviting different people on. We're inviting a lot of companies on, which is really cool. And tonight, we have Philip Elliott. He's with Creative Brainworks. And one of our InventRight students, Corey Wilcox, licensed the product to him. And so if you have a toy or game idea, or maybe you don't, but you just want to listen, you're going to learn something about licensing. Maybe you decide you want to start getting into toys and games. So welcome, Philip.
Andrew, it's great to be here. Or great to be back, actually.
Stephen,
Well,
you interviewed Philip as well before, haven't you?
yeah, let's talk about that. Philip, we've talked a few times. I interviewed you, and I'm sure you received quite a few submissions, didn't you?
Yeah, based upon that, we received a large amount of submissions, and I appreciate everyone sending me their ideas. It's been tasking and challenging at times, looking through many, and unfortunately, not everyone got responses, but I tried to respond to many, and then we've actually been able to identify new items from inventors that we're progressing forward on.
Nice to hear. Well, this is exciting, and thank you very much for coming on and helping us inventors do a better job and submit great toy ideas to you. So, Andrew, let's go to the first slide, please. Yeah. Once again, Philip, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company, if you would, please.
Well, I'm Creative Brainworks is a company that my co-founder and really the inventor of beanbag buckets started. And at the end of the day, before that, I have 20 years of retail experience, a senior executive in the toy industry, various industries from home goods and so on. And after I left the retail, I really was helping various inventors bring products to market. And then when I saw Anthony's idea, I thought it was so remarkable, such a great new concept and fresh to the outdoor gaming industry. That's when we started to bring it to market. And then all of a sudden we joined as partners and launched that item. And from there, we're bringing more items to product and actually working with more and more people to license their ideas and concepts to bring them to market as well and bring those products to life, because I think there's a lot of ideas out there, and you probably see it every day, Stephen and Andrew, with your inventors that just need a little help to bring their products to market, and that's what we're really focused on right now.
Wonderful. Andrew,
Where do you sell your products?
Well, we sell our products in the outdoor, in the sporting goods category, sporting goods stores nationally. We're working on mass outlets, mass discount retailers, and department stores, independent retailers, online, specialty, education. Right now, we're developing relationships to sell in Canada and actually Australia. So we've, from starting a company really launching our first product in 2017, we'll be international in 2021.
Cool.
Very nice. Yeah, looks like you won an award here with this.
Well, we won an award, the Napa Award, and it was actually for our larger game, which is beanbag buckets. That's the Anthony's game. And so that was a nice award. This is the Parents Award, and the Napa Award is a very special achievement because they're looking for kids' value, entertainment, play, durability. So it was a nice little recognition, and we're actually up for that award with Corey's item. for this fall.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you want me to show that Corey has? Let me. You're talking about RotoBrain, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Let me show that one first here. So tell us about that. Corey's a former InventRight student. You tell us a little bit about the product.
So this is a 3D memory sphere puzzle. And if you think about it, and as you look at this and you go, wow, it kind of looks like a cube out there that I'm familiar with. Well, the colors do pop like that. But outside of that, this is I would call this generation's type of three-dimensional puzzle. There's 3 levels of fun and combination. What you do is you think about it, it's a combination lock meets Rubik's Cube, to be pretty clearly. And if I could demonstrate it, because it's we have a lot of videos out there on our website, on the RotoBrain website. It walks through how to play the game. You can actually take the game. You can actually take this puzzle apart and reset the codes. So you think about this. You have three levels. The first level is 729 possibilities of combinations to figure out the right ones to solve. The second level, which is the middle color, has over 6,000 possibilities. And then the top level has 560,000 possibilities. All right, so as you work to solve this, you can see on the picture that, see that little, at the top, there's a little dimple at the top on that black cap on the image. You see that in the
Yes.
RotoBrain? Okay,
Yeah.
That's a little piston, and every time you solve each level, it'll pop up and signify that you solved that level. So once you solve all of this, which it's fairly complex to solve, you think, okay, I'm done with the puzzle. I solved the combination. That's it. No, that's not it. You can actually take the bottom apart, take these pieces apart, reset the combination randomly, put it back together, and you have a whole nother challenging puzzle to solve. So it's nearly a never-ending puzzle to solve.
Well,
now,
let me ask you this. When Corey came to you, did the product look like this?
No. So Corey had the vision, right? So he had a puzzle, and it'll be up on our website soon. We have the original concept, which I think is phenomenal. It has the colors. It's probably 30% the size of what this is. And we were working, he had the idea and the thought. And from the idea, the thought, and the concept of what the product is, we had to take our know-how and work with some designers, work with some engineers, because we knew what the concept should be. And working with Corey, we just had to filter out some of the nuances to get it to the level of where it is today.
Well, that's very encouraging, because what you're saying is he came to you with the concept and you helped finish out the project and develop and engineer the product. Because a lot of inventors, they're not engineers, they're creative people. So that's very encouraging. So can you talk a little bit about that? Are you willing to work with people that don't have every little detail worked out but have the general concept?
That is for sure. The key part of it is the vision of the product and the audience. So let's say an inventor has an item, and it could be the next greatest game, but that game could be focused. It's so focused that only people from let's get a very small state that would only appreciate this game. And next thing you know, it's focused at ages 4 to 5. And all of a sudden, it's so finite. What I'm trying to get at is the customer base is so finite, it makes it challenging to bring an item to life because of costs and the strategies behind it. But if the vision is broad enough where it hits a lot of the check boxes, where it has a broad appeal to people, like you look at our games that we bring to life, from now this RotoBrain, everybody can play this. We say, I believe we say 6 and up, but someone younger can play and enjoy this, and someone 99 years old could play this, you know, because of memory, cognitive skills, and development. So there's a broad pool of people that could really enjoy this game. Think about beanbag buckets. A lot of, you know, we focus on, let's call it the college age kid for that concept. But at the end of the day, we have the game selling for preschool gym programs, and we have them in nursing homes. Broad appeal, great concept. Same thing with the games that we bring to life, the products we look at. That's how I think through the process. Because as you both know, the expenses behind developing product, engineering, if it needs to be engineering, are very high. And so we have to make sure that it hits the right level of audiences to be able to do that.
Hey, Philip, I've got a question here. So what did he show you to demonstrate this concept? Was it a drawing? Was it a description? A
Well,
3D
he
model?
actually went out there and he worked with some people and had this concept. It was actually, it's a plastic sample. So he had some people work on this and come up with this little sample. And he had a little video and he had some drawings. And then he sent me the sample because once I saw it, I knew this category, three-dimensional puzzles, there's a lot of gray space there. What I mean by that is you have your Rubik's Cube. That's, you know, nothing's touched that item. It's the pinnacle. It's the top item. Then you have a lot of other little three-dimensional brain teaser type games, but there's open market there for a great new item because people that love brain teaser games, they are all in. They want to find that next cool, great item. And that's what this is. This is, I believe, it's this generational's type 3D puzzle that's really going to make an impact. It's just on us to market it and get the awareness out there.
Nice.
Now, there's another product here that I see Corey did. Can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so this one, actually, so it was funny. So when Corey reached out to me, I think it was about 2 years ago, he said he had a lot of ideas. And so he sent me a large number of items. And this was one of them I saw. Is when I saw it, you see the finger shooters, right? So that's he had that, and he had a little bit smaller pellets, and he, you know, and he had a little pouch, and I was like, this is a fun basic item. You know, this is again part of our nonstop kind of on the go gaming. And so I said, this is an item that we can quickly bring to market. So I saw this one and the RotoBrain really at the same time, but I knew RotoBrain, you know, it took us about a year to bring to market. Now, sometimes that's how long it takes if it needs the right development and engineering, where this one took about, I think it was about 4 months to bring to market because we had to have a mold built for this, the rubber band shooter. But then we also we added cans and we changed the balls to make it a great value gameplay.
Can you talk a little bit about that? You said 4 months. With different products, it can vary, but I mean, Inventor's not going to license a product to you and it's going to hit the shelves 2 weeks later. Can you talk about that timeline a little bit? Maybe a range from the easiest
Well, when I
project
say
you
4
ever
months,
did?
I don't mean 4 months where it was in retail. I mean 4 months
Right,
to have the product developed. That's what I mean.
right. So can you talk about time to retail then? I think it's important that inventors are realistic there and understand what the company's going through to make that happen.
Sure. Well, really what it is it's a cycle. So let's say I have this RotoBrain product ready and fully developed. Well, it's all a matter of timing because the larger big box retailers and department stores, they're planning a year out. So, you know, some of you might catch some that are 6 months, 9 months out, but the larger big box retailers, they're planning a year out. So if you don't hit their cycle for product reviews and meeting with the buyers and walking through your items, you miss that cycle. So it's a matter, it could take up to 18 months before you see product on the shelf, and that's a good product. You know, it's a top-notch product to hit the shelf. Now, it's a much shorter time frame for independent retailers because those are those are merchants, that store owners that have their stores, and if they see something they like, they could react to it pretty quickly because they own their store, they're making their decisions with their own monies. But for larger placed orders, that's how long it takes.
So are there any trends that you would like to discuss, trends you're seeing, maybe what you're looking for, trends in the toy and game industry that inventors should be aware of?
What I would say is, if you look at the market, and a great place to look at trends and what you're seeing out there is if you look at the toy catalogs, right? And what I mean by that is if you look at the toy catalogs and they're all online right now. The Toys R Us, not Toys R Us, the Targets, the Walmarts, the Amazons, where these are the featured toys. What's interesting to see is a lot of family type games, a lot of products that create lasting memories, cognitive development products. That's what you're seeing right now. I'll tell you, the outdoor game business this year has been off the charts. And that's because of really the COVID shutdown. People are spending more time with their families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stephen, we have one student, he's licensed between 6 and 8 outdoor games. He's doing pretty well right now. You still there, Stephen?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have, so Philip was mentioning outdoor games are really hot. We have one student, I think he's licensed between 6 and 8 outdoor games, auto. And so that we've found that to be true as well. It's a great category. Is there any categories that you wouldn't get into now because of COVID or not? They're
I
all
wouldn't
good.
say because of COVID. I'd just say there's some challenging categories out there that make it tough. The board game category, it's a very challenging category. There's a lot of fun board games out there, but it makes it tough to break through that market in any special way. Card games make it easier because the cost and the spend, but board games are tough. The doll market is tough. So if you look at, again, I'm just thinking of the toy industry.
Is it just me, or do card games seem to be really hot right now?
Well, I'd say card games, if you catch the right energy, they do well. But again, that's the bonding and the family energies that are out there. And I've always, I have a background because I was a game buyer for Kmart years ago, that the games bring people together and create lasting memories. Think about, everyone on this call could think about their childhoods, and you think about the board games and how it brought those families together. And at the end of the day, they probably still have some of those board games. Whereas a toy, sometimes, we think the hottest toy of the year, I'm going to buy it for my child, and the next thing you know, they play with it for 5 or 10 minutes. But a board game or a type of puzzle, this 3-dimensional puzzle, it lasts a lifetime. That's why if you look at what happened with, I think Spin Master just purchased the rights to Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cube was the #1 toy item brand in its lifetime. Right? It's sold 450 million units, something like that, which is phenomenal. And so again, it's about building those type of memories. And that's the type of products we really look for. It's something that connects with people, challenges them, brings them together, and creates memories.
How about you specifically? What types of products are you looking for right now?
Well, I would say that's what I kind of just hit on. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but I'd say we're looking for unique, fun products that have that bring a lot of that appeal to a large group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, give you an example with beanbag buckets, that game. People see that game and they gravitate to it, and they take ownership of the game. That's Blitz game. That's not our buckets game. That's the smaller version. But this could be the
Right.
similar type game, right? So they take ownership of the game. And what I mean by that is when they see the game, they start coming up with their own ways to play it. And they name it, they call it, they have it their own rules, and that's taking ownership of a product. You think about playing from Monopoly to Uno, people have their own rules, right? You have kind of house rules and how they play that game. That's how you take ownership of products. If you can come across products like that, that's phenomenal. But you know what? There's a product from, I believe I don't know, they're one of your students or people that you've influenced that is an impulse item that's fun, unique, and different. That we're licensed, but we're not ready to go public on it yet. But it's a fun, cool, catchy. I almost call it a tchotchke type item that could be this coming year's silly band type of product. It's fun and different. Not a lot of big investment, but it could be a lot of fun to the industry. So that's the type of product we're looking for.
Is that a new product category for you?
Which one?
Well, the
The,
tchotchke kind of fun
the
item, the
impulse, I
product that
would
you
say
can't talk
that's
about.
the first. Well, I would say it's the first one we're bringing to market. And it's funny. We talk about all the emails that I've received from the people that you've influenced and some of your students, and it's a lot of times you can, once you see that product, that concept, it hits, it hits me. I'm a product person. I've seen thousands upon thousands of ideas and products. And right away, if something catches me, it doesn't take long for then Anthony and I to review it and say, how does this fit into our business? And then we reach out to the inventor and say, let's see if we can move forward with this because we like your concept. But then there's other concepts that we like and we say, this is a good item, but we're just not ready to add this one to our mix because we're not a large company. We're still, I consider, a startup company with an exorbitant amount of experience. So it has to be the right item at the right time.
Got it. How about price range? What are your feelings with how you approach things with price range?
As far as the retail price range,
Mm-hmm.
there has to be value there. So it has to make sense, as far as like this Roto Brain, we have the retail at $19.99. That's a strong price point for all the value that you get for this. So that's how I think about pricing. Will a customer see it and say, not even think about the price because the product makes sense?
Do you like doing products that it has the perceived value and at the price point that it's selling at?
It
And
has to have great perceived value, and we have to build it right. On all our products we work on, we make sure that we put quality in over, I would call it almost over engineering it to make sure that there's more value in this item than people are paying for.
so it's not any particular price range. It just has to have value at that price point. So have good
Right.
perceived value. Got it.
That's
Okay.
correct. And I get most of the inventors aren't going to understand what price point they need to be at because there's so much costs involved in developing the product. It's tough for an inventor to say, hey, this 3D puzzle that I have a concept of, I think it could be a $20 retail. Well, maybe once it's fully flushed out, someone would know that. But until someone understands the cost of the molds, the cost of product development, the cost of shipping, that's one thing I know we haven't really hit on that, but to ship stuff over from China right now, the freights have more than tripled. So
Wow.
that affects costing. You aren't kidding. Wow. To ship and right now, there's just so many nuances that as an inventor, they shouldn't have to know this as far as the challenges that us companies have. But the ports right now in LA are backed up for 3 weeks right now. they're so backed up that they're pushing our ports in China to not allow the ships to even leave those ports yet because they're so backed up in LA. And we're having to reroute the ships. And that's going to be an interesting dynamic to this holiday season and how people can get their products through the ports itself. Yeah, but I'll give you an example. A 45-foot container was about $1,600 last year. It's $4,800 right now.
Well, Philip, tell me, why is it backed up? What's happening?
Well, what's happening is people held off on their orders due to COVID, and the factories were shut down for a period of time, and then the US was shut down for a period of time. Now everyone's racing to get their products in here because the sales have really been strong in many different categories. And what is the largest, fastest port to get it here? And that's Los Angeles and Long Beach. So everyone is using those ports.
I see. Hey, Philip, let's talk a little bit about the submission process. How do you like to see a product come in? A sell sheet, is that fine? A prototype?
Well,
what do you like to see?
Right. What a good news is that I think I mentioned the Brain Trust group. Well, we're working on finalizing our corporate website, and we'll actually have a section for the Brain Trust people that are a part of our group to recognize them. But we'll also have a form and a place for them to submit their products to us for review. Because I have a submission form. Typically what's happening right now is people are sending me an email, and then I'll say, here's the submission form, and it's about 6 different things that I like to understand what's in the inventor's head. They send me that, some images and a video, and then once I take a look at it and we take a look at it, then we'll see if it goes to the next level or not. And if it goes to the next level, then I contact the inventor and say, look, we think your idea is worthy enough for us to go to the next level of review. And then we'll see, then we'll have a process behind that. And then if we get to the next phase, then we could look to bring it into our mix.
So let's talk about that review process for just a minute so people really understand. Is it just you, or do you bring in a manufacturing guy or a marketing person, or is it you trust your gut? I mean, how do you pick one?
Well, the initial first review, line of defense or the line of opportunity, is me, and it's my knowledge and expertise of the industry, the trends, and what we're looking for. And then once it makes that first level of this is intriguing enough for us to take a deeper look at that, and that's where I have Anthony and I review it, and then I have some other people that I share some concepts with if I think I need their input. But primarily it's myself and Anthony saying this is going to make sense into our company's overall vision, strategy, and opportunity to go after it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really streamlined operation where, let's say they have to submit it into a larger toy company. You're going to have your first level manager, then you're going to have potentially a product guy, and who knows how many other layers of opportunity before it gets a decision maker. When you send it to me, it's a decision maker. And if we like it, like this last one, that's the let's call it the impulse tchotchke item, we move fairly quickly. If it's an item that that it didn't hit the right spot, it's going to take a little longer. And then another one right now we're going through engineering and development on, and both this one, that tchotchke, I think we're going to turn around and hopefully have by January, because it's small enough that we can air freight it in, because I think it's worthy of doing that. This other one that we've been working on engineering on for about 3 months now, and we're still looking to have it in March.
Okay. Philip, let's talk a little bit about, you're a small company, you're a startup, you guys are scrappy, you're doing a great job, you get back to people. That's really fantastic. But a lot of companies, a lot of inventors, they feel it's a black hole. They submit it and they don't hear anything back. Do you have any insights of why that's happening?
Well, I'd say I'm guilty of that sometimes. And probably maybe some of you people, it's just the nature of the beast. There's a lot of emails that come in, and sometimes depending on the product, the concept, or the thought that went into the email would determine the response. To be quite candid, if it's, I have a product, I have an idea, and it's in this category, do you take submissions? Well, we always will take submissions, and I'll try to respond to that. Or if someone sends me an idea and I see the thought behind it and the concept, and I think there's something really there, but it might be outside of one of my categories, because one of your students, I think, had a phenomenal idea that was probably in the spring that she sent it, and it was just outside of our category, that I just didn't think we could really do it justice, because I don't have that context with that industry. I respond and I say, this is what I thought it is, and I thought it was a great item, and this is how I would approach it.
How do you have time to do that, Philip? Because that sounds.
That is a challenge, but with inventors that put the time in, and the thought process behind it, I try to make the time. And again, I'm as guilty as anyone. I miss some, and I don't respond quickly. But what I would say is, and I think I hit on this before the last time we chatted, Stephen, is that time is relative. So quick, what I mean by that is the response time. So to the inventor that sends an email, hey, I've sent you an email 4 days ago. I haven't seen anything yet. Did you get it? I sent you an email twice, an email in the past week. Did you get it? Well, that's not helpful. Right? Because
and let me guess, they're not reattaching whatever you're supposed to look at, and you're supposed to now dig through your email to find the other emails.
well, it's just I can appreciate the push, but what they have to understand is the timing of all that I or any other company has to do, and that's the daily. Unless my entire job was to look at product submissions, there are some companies that do that, but they're not a decision maker. They're just a filter. I'm driving product development on our side. I'm working on these container deals, and working on the relationships with retailers so we can sell product, expanding internationally. So there's a lot of complexity to what happens in any given day. So what I would say is give it, when someone sends a submission, give it a couple weeks. And if someone doesn't respond, then send a follow-up and saying, look, I'm trying to achieve this. And persistence is important, but it's a matter of what level of persistence and understanding that.
That's very good input. I want everybody that's listening tonight, please listen to that very carefully. Send it in, give the person a little bit of time to review and look at it, and they will get back to you. So, Phil, I want to talk about building a relationship with you. If I'm an inventor and I'm really serious about toys, and I send you an idea and it's done pretty well. I've got a little video, I've got a sell sheet, I send it to you, and maybe it's not a right fit. You get it, you say no. I come back in a couple other weeks with another one. And I keep on coming back to you because I'm investing in you. I'm investing in your product line. I want to create products for you. How do you look at someone like that?
Well, I would say a great example of that is Corey. So he had a large number of ideas and concepts, and 2 of them resonated with me. And understanding that person, understanding their thought process, and being persistent, but communicated in the right way. I can appreciate that. So, but what I would say is the challenge is for someone that's just throwing things on the wall and hoping one of them will stick. That's the difference. So there's a person that says, I'm gonna try this, not putting a lot of thought into it, and I'm just gonna keep on shooting various ideas that just hoping one of them will stick. Well, that doesn't help the person doing it, and it doesn't help me working with that person. But a person that has true passion, the true thought process and why they came up with the idea, a story behind how they came up with it. Not every idea is going to work. 1 in 10 gets, is successful, and less than that is even, that's 1 in 10 successful. That's just being developed, and then less than that, less than 1 in 10 even make it to market, and less than that is even successful. So it's a challenging industry for sure.
Let's talk about that story for just a minute.
What inventors have to think about is the category they're going after, who plays in, there's so many different nuances, the categories, the who plays in that space, how large are the key toy manufacturers' presence in that space. It makes it challenging as well. So there's so many nuances and factors when not only developing the product, but thinking how well that can do in the industry.
You mentioned a couple times how important the story is. Could you please dive in a little deeper about that story and why that resonates with you, and how does someone present that story to you?
Well, and that's one of the things that's actually on my submission form. How'd you come up with the idea? And the story is, I'll give you an example. So one of our best stories is of Anthony's item that he came up with, and beanbag buckets. And that was an item, if anyone's ever seen the video or been out, it's on our website and so on, but Anthony was at the Jersey Shore with his kids, and they were looking for something to do. And you know how kids are, they just were looking for something to do besides just playing in the water. So all of a sudden, Anthony put a stick in the sand, got some seashells, put some seashells on the stick, and started tossing them at the stick. And next thing you know, they were playing that for hours. They're sitting, and they have pictures of this. So we have the original pictures of the very original beanbag buckets idea. From that idea, he went home, and he still has every single concept just about. And we're bringing that to our website soon to share the story. But he tried all these different iterations with plastic cups and poles and different balls and bags and all these different things. And it took him, let's call it 3 years to get to a level before I saw it. And the persistence behind that, the vision that someone can see and feel as any father with your kids on the beach looking for something to do, but he was creative enough to come up with some kind of idea that all of a sudden became not only what it is today, but a vision for bringing people together and creating lasting memories. So all that together is a symbol of not only the product, but our company. So those are the type of stories that resonate. And then if you think about Corey's idea, I don't know if he's ever shared this with you, with Roto Brain, but he was having some challenging times. He comes up with all these ideas, and he has it, he's hit the wall like many inventors, not getting his ideas brought to life. And next thing you know, he had a dream that he tells it better than I do, but he had a dream that God brought this idea, this vision, this toy that's going to be this great generational type product. And he woke up in the morning, he drew it out, and that was the first concept of RotoBrain. It's a great story. It's just, he was down, it's so, and people can feel that and see that, when you're down on your luck or you're challenged, you have faith, you're trying to come up with an idea, and next thing you know, bam, there's something. And he drew it, and not only drew it, he tried to build it and bring it to life. And next thing you know, he connected with me, and we brought it to life. Well, so those are the type of inspirational stories that I think are phenomenal.
But how do I tell you that story though when I'm submitting an idea? I give you a sell sheet, maybe a little video. Then do I write the story, or do you want to hear the story after I show you my product?
Well, the stories that I told you are a much larger conversation. You're not going to get that in the first submission. So what I would say is, in the first submission, just kind of give a high-level overview of how you came up with the idea and the concept. If the concept we see goes to the next level, the story will help fill that in then, if that makes sense. Like if we get to a point where we're really considering this product and one of the other outdoor game that we're bringing to life for next spring, I liked the item. So I set up a call and talked to the inventor, and that was at the second or third review process. And we had a great chat, and he told me how he came up with the idea, and that added to the greatness of this product.
Okay.
So the product has to be great. If the
Okay.
product is great, the story can make it even better. If the product is not great, no matter how great the story is, it makes it, product, I think we were talking about this earlier, product is king. The story adds to the product, but the story is not going to make the product better. Okay.
Yep, that's good. Very good.
So what type of patents or intellectual property do you like to see at inventors, or do you care?
At the end of the day, if an item has a great name and it's trademarked, I think that adds value. And because it's fairly inexpensive, and no one can copy your name once you trademark it, right? That's the name of the product. As far as a patent, it doesn't have to have a patent. And if we look at the item, and at the end of the day, we say, you know what, like RotoBrain, we went after the patent with, we said, Corey, we need to get a patent on this because he didn't have one. Because this one, again, I think is generational. There's so many nuances to it, and it's important we do that. But other products, I would say it's not necessary, because the cost and expense to add a patent and then to fight the patent makes it very challenging.
Now,
If
wait,
your
now, wait
product
a minute.
has, what's that?
I'm watching Shark Tank on Friday night, and all they're telling us is that we need a patent, and you're saying it doesn't matter?
Well, it depends on the product. So if you have an item that's, let's call it something unique and different, but on trend, and it's going to be on trend for a year or two, do you want to spend $20,000 on a patent? Or do you want to bring it to market fast and try to sell through it? Because at the end of the day, unless that patent is 100% buttoned up, and you're spending probably more than $20,000 on that,
Yeah.
People are going to try to find a way to copy it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the great items out there that people have tried to copy. Look, you can name any item, and we have a patent on beanbag buckets. People have found a way to try to make a very, very bad version of it, but people try to find a way if an item is good enough. So, and then you have to fight somebody, so it's interesting that people say spend $20,000-$30,000 when a lot of ventures don't have that. It doesn't make sense all the time. Sometimes it does. I would all say that. And I would be very honest and transparent to say, you know what, this item we need, like with RotoBrain, we need to get a patent on. This other item that let's call it band type item, that's let's call it in tchotchke type item. I especially told the venture, I says, we should not get a patent on this. This is going to be an item that's going to come in, it's going to go quick, we're going to be on trend because we're going to have the trademark name. Like, let's call it like, Silly Band had the great name, right? People kept, that was the name that everybody wanted. So it has to be evaluated properly, not just go off, and it takes years to get it. And then if someone gets it, we all know how much it costs to get a lawyer, especially a patent lawyer, to fight for you to make sure you secure those rights.
Philip, can I talk to you about the trademark for a second? We teach our inventRight students that the common law trademark, just putting a TM and a circle around it, kind of showing the licensee, the potential licensee that you intend to use it, is enough, because a lot of times they'll change it. So are you okay with people just putting the name up, putting the TM, the circle around it, because it doesn't cost them anything? They don't need to spend all that money on the registered trademark. And then if you show interest and you like the name, then the inventor can get the trademark.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a way to save them a lot of money? And
well, they don't even have to put TM on it. They can.
For you, yeah.
That's fine. Because if I see a TM on it, that means I think they got a trademark on it. But to your point, Andrew, I think it's a good one. Sometimes the name on the product that's presented that does not end up being the name on the product that we sell. So that's a great point. And if it does, and we think the name's strong enough, that's something that we would have conversations about for sure.
Right. So like Corey showed you a bunch of products, and if he showed you 12 products and he spent the money on a trademark on all 12 products, that probably wouldn't be money well spent or necessary. Would
That's
you agree?
correct.
Okay.
I would agree 100%.
Got it.
Good
I
advice.
think you talked about this, but we had some additional questions about it. Didn't you mention a couple weeks? But I guess there's a longer review process. There's
Well,
getting,
there's
yeah.
multiple facets of the review process. The first review is myself just saying, does this product um, hit the right steps, hit the right audience, as part of our, let's call it vision of bringing people together, creating memories, or in that concept. So I would say the entire process could take up to at least a month for us to formalize and say, yeah, we're ready to move forward. Now, it could be quicker if it's something that I say, wow, this is something really special. I get on the phone with the inventor, and it could happen in a week if it's that good of an item, or it could take more than a month. So it varies depending on really the product at the end of the day, and the time of the year. If it's the end of the quarter, end of the year when we're going through all our financials, or if it's during holiday season when we're under the gun with various marketing achievements and ideas. So it's all also predicated on the time of the year. So yeah, it's very fluid to be quite candid.
So Phil, tell us about trade shows. Okay. They're not coming back for a little while. So how is that going to impact you?
That's a great question. What I would say is, trade shows are good in a way for us because it helps us get in front of people that we normally don't get in front of. So it just puts more challenges on us to utilize my network of sales guys to get in front of people. But in some ways, it's actually opened some doors because people are more available now than they've ever been. The buyers and so on, because many of them are working from home still. Some aren't, but many of them are. And so the opportunities to get more time with them on a Zoom call or something does open those doors. Okay. And as we're building more and more products and more brands, getting more recognition, more marketing efforts, we're continually getting more doors open to us, which is a good thing.
This is our last question for you here, and then we got about 6 people. I want to get to their questions. We can kind of do a rapid fire. But what can we do as inventors to do a better job of submitting products to you? What are some of those mistakes you see inventors making? I think you covered some of them, but if you could kind of summarize how we can do better.
Be thoughtful in the vision of the product. Going back to the what is an inventor's ultimate goal with their idea, besides to either produce it and make money? Because I understand that's everyone's goal, but what's beyond that? What do they want to do with the item? How do they see it coming together? Who's their audience that they're speaking to? Those are some of the key components that I think about for an individual item. Is I understand they can't see that this is going to be the next generational type item, but who are they trying to bring this product to and share it with? Who's going to enjoy it? Is it that's important, and what do they want from it? Good. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
those are a little broad thought-provoking statements. It's not a sequence of do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, which I think you guys do well in communicating. So I thought about thinking about the broader thought process is how I thought about it.
Let's see. Well, let's jump. We can kind of rapid fire these. Let me click on this first one from Vic. Aside from having a great idea, what can an inventor do to set themselves apart from the rest of the crowd? I thought that was an interesting question.
the pause as I'm thinking through it is a good question. So I'm going to try to think about this in a step of set themselves apart in a product submission or set themselves apart. I guess that's how I got to think about this. What I would say is in their initial outreach. So once they complete this submission form, it's going back to kind of the couple 3 points that I hit on was, here's my vision of what I want to do with this idea. Here's what I'm looking for in a broad sense, because I understand they can't understand all the nuances of what they're truly wanting to do, but that's one aspect of it. And then here's the people I think that that would enjoy this item. And then have they done, really I'd like to know, have they done research? You know, it's really, in today's world, it's easy to do research. And what I mean by that is so let's say if they I'll use a different category. Let's say this is in the indoor sports category, in the toy category, indoor sports. And that's like Nerf and those that category. It's very easy to go out, walk a store. It's very easy to go onto Amazon and see, okay, is there a product like this? Is it similar but different, or is it just similar? You know, how does it add value to this category? And by knowing a little bit of that, they don't need to know all that, but a little bit about that, not only educates themselves, but it gives me an idea of, okay, here's the vision. I've done some research as the inventor of this is what I see out there. I'm looking to work with someone that could bring this to life, and here's my idea. Because anyone that has an idea, doing the research is important. Understanding what they're trying to sell, understanding the industry they're going in, because this is their idea. This is their, let's call it, baby that they want. They think is something very special. Otherwise, they wouldn't take the time to do it. So take the time to do that background research of the products in that category and how this would fit into that.
Next up's from Daniel. Daniel said, what are your feelings about including the inventor's name or picture on the packaging?
I guess at the end of the day, I don't know the customer that's relevant for the customer, right? If I think about the packaging, you go to any one shelf, they have 3 to 5 seconds to catch their attention. So I guess it depends on what the product is and the concept. There used to be a company out there, I think it was called, was it Quirky? I think the name of the company was, that had inventors, and they put their products something like that. But what we're doing is to recognize the inventors on our website. Again, we're going to have a tab that's called Brain Trust. We're going to have the picture of the inventor, like you have with Corey and his product. We're going to have his ideas and his products and a little bit about his story. We think that adds value there. And it's going to be part of our marketing and our concept around that. But on the product itself, on the shelf, it's important to understand what the customer is looking for and why it would be there.
Next one's from Jeff. Do you obtain licenses from Marvel or DC Comics if necessary?
We haven't done that. I know many people from the industry that work in Disney that license Nickelodeon and so on. We haven't done that, and that's a great question, because if you look at the toy industry, a large majority of it is licensed. But once you slap a license on it, I look at it as a short life. The only one, many times when it comes to an item, the only time an item who wins from the license is the licensor. That's the brand itself, because the brand drives it and the item doesn't last as long. If it's an item worth anything, it'll stand on its own.
Jeremy is asking, are you okay with receiving multiple prototypes? So I'll add to his question. I'm assuming you would definitely want some sort of sell sheet or video or something before you got a prototype, but maybe not. So what Jeremy's asking, he wants to send you multiple prototypes. Can you give him some perspective on what you would like?
When you say prototypes, are you talking about the physical item or prototypes in an
I
email
think he's
saying,
talking about physical prototype. Yeah.
well, as long as these items have, again, thought process behind it. It goes back to, what was his name?
Jeremy.
So Jeremy, I would say, if you have well thought out processes behind, here's the item, here's the category, this is what I see the value is, send multiple items. I would like them to be separated by separate emails because then I can make sure I spend the time on each of them in that way. But what I would say is, I'm not saying that anyone does, actually I've received many of emails like this and says, here's a whole bunch of items, tell me which one could be great. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the well thought out process behind each one of these, and this is why I'm sending them to you.
Right. Good feedback. So this is the very last one from Daniel. When I send a product idea to you, do you assume that I'm sending it to other companies at the same time? I thought that was an interesting question.
Actually, it's not even in my thought process. I would say an inventor, I would expect them to be looking for different ideas and concepts. And if I think it's worthy enough to not only pursue, but go after it. And if the inventor thinks that I'm the right person for this, or Anthony and I are the right company, Creative Brainworks is the right company that fits into their product vision, that's great. But it's not even really part of my thought process in the beginning.
Got it. Stephen, did you have anything you want to say in closing? I think we're going to wrap up here.
No, I think this is wonderful, and I'm so pleased that Philip came on again to talk about what he's looking for in the process of his company. I think he's spot on with the intellectual property perspective, and it depends on how long the lifespan is going to be on a product, and some of them have a short lifespan, some have a little bit potentially a longer lifespan. So I'm glad he talked a little bit about that. I love that he also talked about trademarks. If you've got a great name, that could be important, but realize the name will probably change, and that it could be very expensive if you trademarked every name that you came up with. So
Oh yeah.
be frugal.
Right.
I think he's really onto something, because I like that he gets back to people quickly, and he's small and quick and agile, and he's doing all the things that I think us inventors really appreciate. The larger companies, they're a little cumbersome, they're a little slow to get back to you, it feels like a black hole, but not at Creative Brainworks, and I cannot thank you enough, Philip, for that.
Well, sure, Stephen and Andrew, I appreciate you guys having me on there, sharing our vision. As your students and followers send us ideas, we are diligent. We try to respond to everybody as possible. And again, I apologize for the ones that I may have missed or I might miss. But if the product does stand out and the vision is there, there's always an opportunity.
Philip, speaking of that, we got a bunch of people, of course, asking how they can submit. You had mentioned to me you had a particular email you thought you might want to use. Do you want to give that out? I can also put it in the chat so everybody can read it.
Sure.
How do you want people to submit?
They can reach out to me via email, and I can send them a form until our website is up. And then once our corporate website, so that's been down right now because of we're updating that. But for temporarily right now, they can send an email to get a submission form to info at roto brain brain.com.
And I put that into the chat. So if you find the chat box, you should be able to see it in there too. But it's info at roto or dash, whatever you want to call it, brain.com.
Right. So, and then what I would say is put in the heading product submissions or inventor product submissions, or let's change that. Let's call it brain trust product submissions. So they're trying to, these inventors are trying to be part of this brain trust group that we're really developing and championing. So brain trust product submissions, and then once you send that, if someone can give me maybe a brief overview of the item, just say I have what category the item is in, and then request a submission form, I will send them back, or we'll have someone send them back a submission form, and it's about 6 questions. They can fill it out, kind of overview of the item, that's a story, and a few other basic questions. Then send that in with any type of pictures, imagery, drawings, and or videos, and that'll start the process.
Right. Stephen, Philip sounds very inventor friendly.
He is, and I really appreciate that very, very much. Philip, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
we are very excited about your company and your attitude and the new products. I think you've got some hits there, so congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, really championing Corey, and his product is phenomenal. So hopefully, the other inventors will take a look at it. Go to our website of RotoBrain and support Corey with his idea, and hopefully they'll enjoy it as well.
Cool. All right, everybody. Remind you to take care, keep inventing, and we'll catch you with you next time. Good night.
Good night, everybody.